Oh, forgive me, I was still muted. So as I was saying, welcome back to the second half of our class of SteelE 2022 Men's Conference. I trust that the first half had been quite enlightened time for you. I hope that the information that was shared have caused you to think more on the future and what it holds for you, what it holds for your family, and what it holds for the generations beyond yourself. I want to highlight those who spoke in the second half. We had Mr. Martin Weightman, my apologies, Mr. Martin Weightman. We had Professor Carlos Santos, and we had our own ambassador, Dr. Anita Davis-DeFoe. Once again, we thank them for their presentations this morning. I hope that you had a good break, a good stretch as we proceed to the second half. So I introduce our fourth speaker for today, which will be His Excellency Dr. Michael SteelE. Dr. Michael SteelE is an ordained bishop, United Nations Peace Ambassador, advisor, and mentor who serves on a number of boards and committees. He served as an advisor with the Metropolitan Police Authority in London, England, and currently functions as a non-executive member of the Board of Directors for ETLS Asset Management, Inc. For over 20 years, he has worked as an educator in human rights, diplomacy, the power of effective communication, conflict resolution, the art of public speaking, and more recently, financial procurement for the HNW and the UHNW. Yes, high net worth and ultra high net worth. Dr. SteelE is the founder CEO of SteelE Design Studio Limited, and in early 2019, gathered a team of like-minded individuals who established the class of SteelE, an organization committed to the enlightenment and empowering of those interested in nation building and global citizenship, focusing on creating and enabling global citizens and leaders. Dr. SteelE loves family and celebrates his wife, Jeannie, and their children, Joshua, well, our children, Joshua, Jenny, and Joel. And now I present to you His Excellency Dr. Michael SteelE, who will share with you on the legacy blueprint. I welcome my husband.
It sounded funny when she said his children. I wonder, how did I do that by myself? Good evening, everybody. All right, well, let's jump into this evening's session. It is a pleasure to be here. Today has been a really interesting day for all of us. It's been very interesting. And I look forward to this presentation, which I'll be bringing to us here this evening on building a legacy, leaving a legacy, the legacy blueprint. So let me jump straight in to my class. Let me just get it out. Here we go. Let me get ready to share my screen with you. Here we go. Take that and put that there. And then we take this one. Take this one first. Then we make it small right there, like that. All right. Thank God for, somebody say thank God for technology. My goodness. Technology makes life so beautiful. I love technology. I've been involved in technology for over 35, 40, almost 40 years. I've been involved in technology. So I'm going to be jumping into this session, and it's an interesting submission. I shared a little bit about this in prior classes, but this evening is definitely one specifically for this presentation here with us. So let me jump into sharing my screen with you. All right, if you could see my screen, just give me a little wave, just a little wave so you see my screen and everything's okay. All right. All right, so let's jump straight into the legacy blueprint and let's look at what that means and what is our part in leaving a legacy or building a legacy. The legacy blueprint. Over the years, I've looked at our communities going and not leaving anything for our children, not leaving anything for the family. How many families have gotten departed heads that have gone home, and the only thing that was left behind was debt and sometimes problems and no solutions. And as a result of that, a lot of families, as a matter of fact, in the demise or in the passing of loved ones that are the heads of families or households, have found themselves, rather than being better off, have found themselves a whole lot worse off. And I looked at myself as a father and a husband and a brother, an uncle, you know, and a family person. And I asked myself a question: what are you going to do for your future generation? Are you going to leave a legacy? Are you going to put something in place that is sustainable? And I've started that journey. As a matter of fact, I'm proud to, if I should even use the term, declare that my son Joshua, he's 6 years old and he already has a registered company. Well, he's 7 years old, and he has a registered company when he was 6 years old, and he is listed on the company, because if I should go to my maker at 6 years old, I have already prepared him to have something to take to the next level as a young man. And interestingly, it is his desire and his vision that he gave to us. And my wife and I decided, let's just hook him up and register his company here in the UK. And he has his own company. Now, that's all about preparing and building a foundation for leaving a legacy. And it starts immediately, and preparing to leave a legacy. So let's go in and see where we got. In order to understand the legacy blueprint, one must first understand what is a legacy. The process of working assiduously on a project focused on putting a current stamp on the present structure with the full knowledge and awareness of its intention for future generations. Seems like a mouthful, but in simplicity, what we're actually saying is it is all about working today with the mindset and the focus on putting a stamp on what we do today, looking forward to the fact that it is going to be there for future generations to see or to observe or to play a part or to carry on. Leaving, transferring a legacy. The act of transferring or leaving a gift or bequest that is handed down, endowed, or conveyed from one person, family, association to the next generationally. So that's how we look at leaving a legacy. And what is a legacy? You can leave something and transfer it to another part of your family or loved ones, and it's something that they can carry on after you are gone. There's some interesting questions that we have to answer when we're looking at the legacy blueprint. And I want you to view this from the perspective of this is at the very core of the planning, the very core of the structuring of a legacy. This is a blueprint that you can have, that you can look at it and see, do I have all of these things in place? Have I ticked off all of these check boxes? Because once you've checked off these check boxes, it means then that you are more equipped for leaving a legacy. So the first thing you want to know is what? What are you leaving? What is it that you're planning to do? Then you want to know, who is it for? Who are you leaving it for? You also want to know, where are you leaving it? Where are you building it? Where are you establishing it? But then you also want to know why. Why are you going to think about leaving a legacy? There's the why factor. And then how? How are you going to do this? What are your plans? What is the strategy? How are you going to accomplish it? And then this is the critical one that you also want to be aware of. When are you going to position yourself to leave that legacy? That's very key. So we're looking at this key question, and the question is, what is it that you're going to build? All right. And we says we're going to build a legacy. For us, the class of SteelE is our legacy that we're looking at leaving. Obviously, I have quite a few other things that are in place that will definitely be a part of our estate or our legacy. But the class of SteelE somehow has taken precedence in my heart, in my mind, in my understanding of what I want to give back to the world, what I want to leave in the world, the footprint that I want to leave. What is yours? What is the thing that you're going to be building, that is going to be leaving as a legacy? And I want you, as we go through this presentation, I want you to be focused. I really want you to take personal notes. Sometimes we listen to presentations and submissions and we're so wrapped up in what the person is sharing about themselves and their organization, etc., that we lose focus on ourselves. I want you to take this presentation and internalize it, personalize it, and I believe it will be a great asset to you, because I think when we look at the points that are necessary for building a legacy and leaving a legacy, there's some key factors that I want to challenge you to consider. In the legacy blueprint, this is His Excellency Dr. Michael SteelE. This is my opinion. I'm a very strongly opinionated individual. You'll get to discover that about me. And a lot of things that I might declare are from a number of sources. Some are from studies, some are from research, some are from personal experiences, but most of them are from what I would use the term my learned paradigm. I have a learned paradigm, the way that I look at life based on my experiences, my exposure, and I think my age as well. I'm 50 years old. I'm still a young man, but I've discovered and experienced quite a bit that I think gives me some level of credibility and authority to make some declarations that I will do. Let's look at the resources for building a legacy. Personal in hand, I take it at 80%. What do I mean by personal in hand resources? If you're going to build a legacy, I want to say this without any kind of compromise. If you do not have at least a minimum to some degree or a maximum of 80% of the resources in hand that you control, that you're responsible for, that you are the final decision maker on those things. If you do not harness at least 80%, you're setting yourself up for failure. And I want you to understand what I mean when I share that particular point. 80% means that the necessary tools, the necessary skill, the necessary ability, the necessary focus, the vision, the strong points, the core of what you want to leave as a legacy must be owned by yourself. 80%. Then we have your personal network, 5%. I think that you need, in the building a legacy, a network. You do. Because as great as we are, remember, a legacy is all about what we build while we're here, but with the anticipation of going on when we have passed or when we're gone. So in order to have a successful legacy, then you need a network. And you need a network that have the other 5%, or at least 5% of the resources that you are going to need to make your legacy successful. For example, the class of SteelE, we're established, and we have our COO, who is the person of Her Excellency Doreen Burunji, and our COO is based in Uganda. Why strategically do you have a COO in Uganda and you are in the UK? And then we also have one of our persons that is responsible for the West African region and for the monarchs of Africa, and the person of Her Excellency Bishop Dr. Comfort Adu. And Bishop Dr. Comfort Adu is in Ghana. Wait a minute. Why do you have a team with one key person in Uganda and then another key person in Ghana? But then we also have our youth coordinator in the person of His Excellency Olusegun Olukoya, and he's based in Nigeria. Wait a minute, Nigeria. And then we have our chief of protocol, who is seated right there, the person of His Excellency Dr. Donald Ewers. Wave at us, Your Excellency Dr. Ewers. And His Excellency Dr. Ewers is based in London, in the UK. So wait a minute. You have UK, Uganda, Ghana, Nigeria, and then we also have members of the class of SteelE who are getting put in certain positions. For example, we even have someone in China in the person of Ruth, who's right there with a nice big afro. Ruth, in China, currently in university. What am I trying to say? Those are a part of the personal network, the 5% that are needful, because the vision of the class of SteelE is to take authority and maximize on diversity. In Africa, we're in different countries, so we can build our resource structure and base in those regions. And I have not mentioned that we have other partners and associates in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. We have those in Barbados, in the Caribbean, in the USA, in Canada, and different parts of Africa, different parts of Europe. So our tentacles in Portugal and Turkey, our tentacles are far and wide. Why? Because we're building a legacy. And in building a legacy, you need a broad base. All right. Then accessible, 10% that is accessible. You need to have resources that you can access. At least 10% of the resources that you can access, because you want to be in a position where you could do what you have to do. The class of SteelE is currently online. And our online facility means that we use Zoom and we use computer technology, and we use computer programmers, web developers, and all of these dynamics. SteelE Design Studio Limited is a web hosting company that we are currently the managers and the owners of. And as a result of that, we own our communication technology structure. So we're the persons responsible for our communication technology. I'm a program developer, a web developer, a graphic developer. My wife, she's a developer. And all of our programs that we do, we have the authority, the power, the ability to do them on our own. So you see, what I'm sharing with you is what is necessary needs to be within your power to manage if you're going to build a serious legacy. Now, then there's the inaccessible. And this is always important. There will always be things that you cannot access. Let that be at least 5%. Don't let it go past 10 and 15 and 20% that are things that to you are inaccessible. You need to make sure that those things conducive to the success of your building, of your legacy, are accessible to you. And a minimum, very small amount can be those things that are inaccessible. And then you need to structure those inaccessible things in 3 categories, okay? The inaccessible things need to be in at least 3 categories. 1, immediate. They're inaccessible. They're things that you need immediate that you have to focus on, because you need to focus on some of those things that you need to have. But then there's some that are medium term. And then there's some that are long term. You don't have to worry about them. Make sure that those inaccessible attributes or assets or resources or things that you could structure in a long-term direction. For example, in the class of SteelE, long-term for us is building more membership and having more things that we need for the growth of the class of SteelE. We're going to have offices, we're going to have conference centers, we're going to have schools, colleges, universities. All of those things are long-term. In the medium term, we have our radio station, our television station. All of those things are medium term that are going to come. But then the immediate are those smaller things like, finances to do some of the necessities that we have, like the bills and the expenses of the day-to-day running for what we are doing. All right. Rules for success. Always own 80% of the resources. You must be the master of your vision. Then we look at protection. Rules for success lives in you. Your legacy lives in you. And this is so interesting. When I sat down and I was doing my research, I found this quite interesting. No one should be aware of your vision at this point. Now, remember, we're building a legacy. This is the blueprint. No one should be aware of your vision at this point except your spouse or co-visionary. Your vision must be closed from the general public until you are ready to cut the red ribbon. Don't let anyone know your vision, because it is important when you are building a legacy to keep it secret. That is why you need 80% in your own reach and capacity. Follow with me. Because once you have 80%, you don't need to talk to anyone, to speak to anyone, share with anyone, discuss with anyone, because the bulk of what you want to accomplish or the bulk of what you want to achieve is within your grasp, all without any support or help from anyone else. And that is important and critical. I know a lot of you might not have realized this, but there's a word that is in between legacy. If you look at it from the bottom up, it's cage, C-A-G-E. And I like that thought. You need to cage your vision. And that's why I said it lives in you, L and Y. So between the L and the Y is cage. Oh, come on now. I like language. So you see L-E-G-A-C-Y, legacy. L is for lives, and Y is in you. It lives in you, and it must be in a cage. Now, what does this cage mean? C is for conceal, confidence and conviction. You need to conceal your vision. You need to. You need to. You need to have confidence that you can do it. You need to be confident that you're able to get this done. Don't be panicking. Don't be worried. Be confident. And you need to have a conviction. The why is going to be your conviction. Why am I doing this? That's going to be your conviction. It needs to be strong. It needs to be secure. It needs to be something that when you unveil your legacy plan or structure or you share it, you know that your conviction is so strong that when you meet some of the things that I'll share with you down the road, you'll understand how to deal with it because your conviction is strong. Then you need to be anonymous. You need to be anonymous. His Excellency Dr. Ewers and Her Excellency Doreen Barunji and the class of SteelE management team, there are things that we know that we're doing and where we're going that nobody knows. Nobody understands. Nobody's going to be a part of that discussion. Why? Because if you're going to leave a legacy, there must be some things that are done and there must be an anonymity that is therein to cause you to be successful. How many of you know sometimes competition can be horrible and you don't want competition too early? For example, if you find that you have competition in a global scheme of what you want to do too early, it can be problematic too early. I didn't say it's bad. I said it can be problematic too early. You need to get going. When do I start to build a legacy? Immediately. Get going. Start today. Start right now. Look at this subject and this message and this presentation. Look at all that you've heard today. And when is the best time to start a legacy? Immediately. Right now. Get going. And then always remember this part. E is for end. Know the end result from the beginning. This is very important. In building your legacy, you need to know what is it that you want to accomplish or see in the final outcome. You need to know that. That's the ending. You need to know it. You need to understand it. Because remember, when you are building something or you're putting something in place, it is going to have a look in the finished product. But you must know what that look is going to be. You must know the end from the beginning. And that's the reason why I deliberately started with the L at the bottom and the Y at the top. And I didn't start with the L at the top and the Y at the bottom, because you must know the end from the beginning in your planning. So the class of SteelE is in a position where we can be looking at our legacy, and equally, we're using this to teach you about your own legacy. So I'm going to empower you to see your own legacy. I'll give you a little secret that you're going to see so that you can appreciate it as well. You would recognize that I use our logo quite a lot in what we're doing. That's called branding. If you're going to leave a legacy, persons need to see your brand. They need to see your logo. They need to see you. And it's important that you, anytime you're leaving a legacy, you have a brand and a mark that follows you from the beginning. And our blue logo, the class of SteelE, the decade of success, will always follow us. And every time you look at it, it says decade. Why does it say the decade of success? It says the decade of success because if you see it from today, then 10 years from today, it's going to be your decade of success. If somebody sees it next year, when they see it, 10 years from the date that they see it, it's going to be their legacy. But each day, it's going to be the decade of success. That's what we celebrate. Every single day starts a new decade. Let's look at choosing your team. In choosing your team, there's something that's very important. You, the head, The legacy builder must be a team player. You must be a team player. It is unreal, unnecessary. It is even not practical for you to start a legacy building a team if you are not a team player yourself. As a matter of fact, that's the most important aspect of building a legacy, being a team player. There are lots of individuals that when they want to do something great, they just think about themselves. They're the chief cook, bottle washer. They're the decision maker. They're the head. They don't have no one they listen to. They don't have no advisors. They don't have no support team, no support structure. Why? Because they think they can do it all by themselves. Well, the truth of the matter is if you have that mindset, you've already devoided yourself of leaving a sincere legacy that's going to follow through. Why? Because a legacy means you are going to need a huge team to be able to carry on after you are gone. That's what a legacy is all about, carrying on after you are gone as well. I think there are two mindsets that we have to be focused on and recognize. There's a legacy meaning that people will talk about you long after you're dead, talk about you because of what you did, talk about you. That's a legacy that you left. However, that has no value. Talking about you has absolutely no value. But when you're looking at creating companies and corporations and programs and different things that after you are gone, people are not talking about you. People are still working in something that you have left to carry on after you are gone. Interestingly, Ethos is a company. I celebrate Ethos because Ethos is a legacy building company. They're leaving projects and they're leaving things that are going to way outlive Carlos and the Ethos family. The class of SteelE has 100-year vision. And 100-year vision means that there are things that if I come back, and should it be allowed that I come back after 100 years, I look and see what has been developed because of the class of SteelE, I'm going to go like, wow. Could you imagine Henry Ford coming back today and looking at the Ford models of today and the Teslas? Henry Ford would say, are you kidding me? Is that what we did? Could you imagine the Wright brothers coming back that discovered flying and aircraft and airplane? Could you imagine them coming back and seeing what we have today? My goodness, they will just, but remember, leaving a legacy does that. It has something that you can add value to. And that is why it is important to have the right team. You must see your vision on the faces and in the characters, life goals, life focus, and personal ambitions of each member. When you structure a team, if you do not see your vision on their faces and in their characters, don't add them. It's useless because you want individuals who are going to be like-minded, like-passioned, like-excited. Her Excellency Doreen Burunji is our COO. I would never choose a COO who does not have the capacity or the ability to carry the vision of the class of SteelE as long as they are able and capable. Because you need somebody that is going to understand you, feel you, appreciate you, love you as a person, value you, value the things you value the people you value the culture you value. All of these things need to be reflective in those people you bring as a part of building your legacy. His Excellency Dr. Donald Ewers, his own profession, who he is. Every member of my team are positioned to do them. I hope you heard what I said. They are positioned to do them. But by coming together, I'm not recreating who Doreen is. I'm not recreating who His Excellency Dr. Ewers is. I'm just bringing them together and we are all a part of a family doing the same thing for the rest of our lives. that we've been doing all of our lives with pleasure. Her Excellency Bishop Dr. Comforter too, in her role, in her position, she's just being herself. So your team must be made up of individuals who are able to do themselves in your legacy building. Do not try to make your team members into something they are not. Don't do it. Don't try to bring a carpenter if you need a carpenter to do a job, and then you end up finding a mason that says, well, I can teach him a few things. No, because he will get frustrated because carpentry is not his thing. Masonry is his thing, and he prefers to work with concrete and work with blocks and work with stone and work with steel. But when you have a person that is needed to work with wood and wood glue and different, there's a different mindset. There's a different understanding. So make sure you don't try to fit a square peg in a wrong hole. Make sure you don't try to make your team members into who they are not. Do not be bringing legacy building tools together or team members or team players who are not in their element. They must be in their element. If you cannot see a way in which you can improve the lives of your team members, do not add them. If you can't see a way of improving their lives and your legacy, how many of you know that a legacy means that people are going to feel good about themselves? People are going to feel pleased. If we decide that, I say to His Excellency Dr. Ewers and my team, let's go and get 10 wells and build and dig wells in the villages where they don't have water. My goodness, my team are going to be pleased. Why? Because they're going to sit down and look and recognize we did something that made a difference to communities for years to come. We did something that's going to impact their lives, and it's a win for us. We are proud of what we've done. We are proud of the fact that we played a part. Do they have to pay us for it? It's not about payment. It's not about money. It's not about the currency that you get. It's about the satisfaction that you get in some cases of knowing you've made the world a better place because you played a part and a role in the legacy that was left. I look at Jeff Bezos and all of those currently that are working in the space age and in technology. And if you listen to some of them, why are they doing it? They're doing it because they want to leave a legacy behind. They want to pioneer things so that those that will come after them will advance and improve on what they've done. And who knows, very soon we'll be having individuals traveling through space. Why? Because others pioneered something that is going to outlive them. All right? Know when to add competition to your team and how. Competition is healthy, very healthy. I like competition. As a matter of fact, I absolutely love competition secretly. As a matter of fact, when individuals would think that they're doing me an injustice by snatching up and competing, ooh, they're making me feel very pleased with myself. How many of you know that if somebody challenges and wants to do what you're doing, that's a testimony to you. It means that you're doing something good and others are seeing it, and it means that you're adding value to others' lives by reason of what you're doing. So competition is always good. But remember, know when to add competition to your team. Know when to do it. For example, we do mentoring and training and teaching, but we have other persons who come and they do mentoring and teaching and training. That to some people seems like competition, doesn't it? But it's not competition. What it is added value. What it is causing us to be better. What it is challenging us as we challenge them. So competition is always good. Be aware that team members may leave you and the process. Know the signs. You're going to have some team members that will leave you or they will leave the process that is in place. Just know the signs and expect it. It's okay. It's a part of the process. So let's look at the building of a legacy. What does it take to build a legacy? Let's look at some of the components in this team building a little closer. So in this team building, we're going to see some very interesting attributes for team building: storming, forming, norming, performing. And I didn't put adjourning because you know that adjourning is the next one for those of you who studied the dynamics of team building. But storming, forming, norming, and performing, let's look at what that means and what are the dynamics of those elements in light of building your legacy. So we're going to choose the Tuckman's team development model, the Tuckman's team development model. And I chose Tuckman. There are many others, but I chose Tuckman's out of simplicity and it's, we're not recreating the wheel. There's nothing new with light of what we're doing. We're just creating an environment of sharing some important points and facts that are proven and they're actually infallible to some degree. Forming, establish the basic expectations. When you go to form your team, these are some basic expectations that you establish. So Doreen, what are you going to expect from me? What am I presenting to her that she must expect? She needs to be aware of those things. Identify similarities. So what do we have that is similar? What do I have with my team that is similar? What is the similarity that we all have? All of us are humanitarian. Every person in my team is humanitarian focused. Every one of my team members, all of them. Not one person in the Class of Steel team is without that tenet of humanitarian and leaving a legacy, helping others, supporting others. So we have some similarities. Agree on common goals. What are the common goals? The common goals that we have is that we are going to make the world a better place. Priority. That's our goal. Her Excellency Doreen and Bishop Comfort and those that are in African regions, they have a passion and a desire to see their country develop, to see better relations with other countries in the West and the Europeans and the Americas, the Caribbean. Their desire is to see that the market of the world is come together as a result of their contribution, support, and input into the academic, into the opportunities that come up, all of the dynamics conducive to business and to success, they are interested in putting together so that the nations of Africa and the world are better served as a result of their contribution. So we have common goals. Members start to make contact and bond. Oh, trust me, the Class of Steel is a tight family. We are very tight. We have taken a number of years, this is 2-3 years almost, that we've been bonding. We're a small group, but don't be baffled by our size, because our collective net worth and net growth and net ability is great, very great. And we celebrate our growth, we celebrate our uniqueness, and we bond very well. We're very close. Start to develop trust. There's a trust element that needs to be a part of your agenda and your schedule and your team. You need to be in that environment where there's trust, because without trust, you will not be successful. Members depend upon the leader. I have been chosen and I count it a privilege to be the leader of the Class of Steel for this period. Why did I say this period? I say this period because we're going to leave a legacy. And when I'm gone, the Class of Steel must go on because we're living a legacy. So for this period that I'm graced with the headship, along with my wife and our team, we're privileged because we have those that depend on us. And we need to make sure that we fulfill our commitment as the head of the team in building the legacy. Then you have storming, identifying power and control issues. There are going to be power and control issues in every team. Improving communication, looking at how we communicate, looking at how we express ourselves and share information. There's going to be, we're going to friction. We're going to battle with opinions and thoughts and ideas in the first stages of our group setup. Identifying the resources. We're going to look at all of the resources that we have in hand. Remember, we talk about having 80% in hand. We're going to share those resources within our collective team so that everybody's aware of those resources and what we have in hand and what we can do. Expressing differences of ideas and opinions. You will have ideas and opinions as a team. Her Excellency Doreen and Donald and equally Bishop Comfort and Olukoya, all of us have different ideas and opinions about how the class of SteelE should run. And all of those are relevant. We put them on the table and we look at them collectively. The First Lady, she has her opinion. What about you and your vision? I want you to look at your legacy. You're building your team, your structure, your thoughts, your group. Look at yourselves in your area of experience and see how you can better yourself and your team. Reacting to leadership. There will be those who will react. Remember, we have responding, but before you have responding, you have reacting. And that's important to note. There are persons who will be reacting as a result of what's going on with them rather than responding. And it builds the momentum as you go forward. Members independent or counter-dependent. So some of them are going to be independent. Some of them are not going to be very independent. And we need to weigh and see how you can help each member of your team. Then we look at norming. Members agree about roles and processes. They agree and everything is together and they're now fine and comfortable with regards to the processes and the roles that they're playing. Then the decisions are made through negotiation and consensus building. So now everything is started to normalize. In the first instances, second instance, and now we're normalizing. And then comes performance, performing. Achieving effective and satisfying results. That's called performance. Members find solutions to the problems that exist. Problems that exist, there'll be solutions, and members will get those problems solved. Members work collaboratively. The team members are interdependent. Members care about one another. There's a caring for each other in the team. There's an appreciation and a value for each member. It's not a Lone Ranger thing, it's a group thing. You're now working together. You're now in a place where you're going to be performing. No longer are you stagnant or no longer are you confused, but everybody is now working together. Digging the dirt. I call this slide digging the dirt. Forgive me if it seems that I'm running fast, but I just want us to get through this and you can review this at your convenience. It's going to be made available on the YouTube and on our website for our members and for the general public as well. It will be made available so you will be able to view it. But digging the dirt, 80% of where you start digging is in your favor. This is important. When I say 80% of where you start digging is in your favor, what I mean is with your vision, make sure that you command the resources, the majority of the resources in your possession for building a legacy. Remember, building a legacy is not a 3-day or a 1 year or a 2-year plan. It's not. And when you're doing something that has a 50-year, a 30-year, a 50-year, a 100-year plan, you have to make sure that where you start to dig, you have authority, you have power, and you're not desperate for it to finish. You're not desperate for turnover. You're not desperate, because building a legacy is a slow-winded process that can cause you disappointment if you do it prematurely. If, for example, there are individuals who they want to start something, the first thing they do is go and get a huge loan. And they don't have a team, they don't have a structure, they don't have anything, and they have a huge financial debt that is on their hands. What's going to happen to them? They haven't structured it and created an environment for legacy. They've created an environment where they're now indebted, significantly, grossly indebted. And the thing about indebtedness is that you're now pressed and struggling to make a return on investment in a hurry, desperate to make a quick return. And because of desperation, you make poor decisions. You make decisions on the fly. You don't have the capacity or the ability to take your time and build. You're rushing. You can maximize on your productive hours. Make sure that where you are going and what you're doing, you can maximize on your productive hours. Class of SteelE, my office, or our office is in my house, it's home. What does that mean for me? It means that I could be working. Sometimes I work 10 hours, sometimes 15 hours. As a matter of fact, I have even found myself where I have worked 36, 38, 40 hours and I mean nonstop. I don't mean in a week. I mean continually. Why? Because I'm seated in my house and I push myself to get maximum productivity from myself as an individual. Now, yes, sometimes that can be positive and negative, but you create an environment where I maximize on my hours. I sit here. My wife, she brings me my tea or my coffee. And when I finish, then I can jump straight into my meetings or my virtual meetings, and I can spend my day in the office. And then in the evening, I can spend my evenings in the office. Why? Because it's home. So my productive hours are maximized upon. You can minimize the cost of operating. How could you minimize the cost of operating when you're building a legacy? Remember, when you're building a legacy, you need overheads that are manageable and sustainable for a long process. So you need to be in an environment where you can maximize on the cost of operating. Be very wise in your overheads. Look at your overheads wisely and manage them. Don't be premature in getting an outside office or complex if you're not ready for it. Remember, your progress is going to determine what you need at the next stage. Don't be premature. Don't think you need a big, elaborate office in the most expensive complex because you want to look so grand, etc., to build your legacy. No, don't start your legacy like that. Build your legacy remembering those things that are medium-term, short-term, and long-term needs or necessities. Remember, we talked about that earlier. When you review this, that's that 5% that I was referring to, where you can maximize your energy. Look at you are maximizing your energy. Why to start digging? Why? Those who are the identified service users are waiting in need of what you will be providing. Think about that. If you have a legacy that you're leaving, there are individuals who are dependent and waiting for you. I hear Olubukola, she was sharing with me her passion And she has such a passion that the minute she gets in front of an audience, she just so much wants to do it. It seems like time is going, time is escaping. When is the best time to start? Why do I start? It's because those that you're thinking about need you. They do, they need you. And it is important for you to get on the bandwagon and start going. Your vision is greater than the one. Remember that. It is not about you alone. It is about the problem to be solved, the need to be filled, the people to be reached, or the lives to be saved. This is important. It is also about the person, organization, or team that is going to take the next leg of the journey. A legacy is, again, you preparing something for somebody that is waiting to take the baton from you to carry it to the next generation. And they are expecting you. They are waiting for you. Why to start digging? Because they are waiting. Because the time that you spend procrastinating is time wasted on investing in them. Because remember, while you're building a legacy, those that you are going to be leaving it with are going to need to have a clear understanding of what you were trying to do. And you're going to need as much time as possible to impart it to them. And how do you do that? An important role that you use to do that is through mentoring. That's why I'm doing the class of SteelE, because we're mentoring Africa and the rest of the world in the vision for the class of SteelE. It's not a closed door something that we just want a few come and high and by. No, we are leaving a legacy and a global footprint. And if you're going to leave a global footprint, you need to have some persons that are going to say, I know the vision of that man or that woman. I understand what that man wants to do. I understand what that woman was trying to do. And this is the blueprint that he has left with me. And now I can take up this blueprint and I can run with it. But beyond running with it, I can equally share this blueprint with others worthy and those who fit the match to be incorporated into my vision, and I can share it with them and we can run together. And that's what you need for your business, your organization. But beyond that, even more importantly, you need that for your family. Because remember, the first legacy that is important for you to leave is for your family, your sons, your daughters, your wife, your family is the most important legacy to consider. And then after your family, you look at the bigger picture of the world and incorporate the bigger picture into your blueprint, because the bigger picture is because you are solving a problem, meeting a need, satisfying a desire that exists as a result of a lack. And exactly that lack is what you are going to be fulfilling. Just like you heard from the last speaker, Professor Santos. Professor Santos is fulfilling a need and filling a gap that exists within the financial circles. He's bringing the pieces together and building upon them and impacting the generations that need what he has to offer. Digging the dirt. When to start digging? When? We just answered why. Now let's look at when. You start digging when the vision is clear. The vision is clear. The vision is clear. Do not come out of your closet. Do not open your mouth or start to talk about what you want to do unless the vision is clear. Because when you start, people are going to hold you accountable for what you said you were going to do. I don't likely entertain individuals that tell me, Dr. SteelE, I would like to work with you. I don't entertain individuals that say that lightly. I can tell you the truth. There are many individuals that send me loads of emails and loads of messages. Oh, we want to work with the class of SteelE. We would like to partner with. I don't want to partner with. I'm not looking for partners. I want to share this with you. Partners show up and get integrated. Let me say that again. I'm not looking for partners. Partners show up and get integrated. What do I mean by that? In the process of what we're doing, individuals who are like-minded show up. And we don't have to beg them or plead with them. It is a mutual thing. Hey, I'd like to work with you. And they're saying the same to us. Hey, I would like to work with you too. Hey, I like what you're doing. And they're saying, hey, I like what you're doing too. And when you have that commonality, that mutual agreement and association, then you can incorporate them into your vision. That's important to know. Once your vision is clear, you know exactly who to bring on board, when to start digging, when the vision is clear. The other time to start digging is when the plan is made. You need to make sure that the plan is made and it is established. Once that plan is made and established, you can start digging. But then also you need to make sure the resources are available. The 80% that you need are there. That core 80%, you're sure about it. You've got your vision together, you've got the plan, and you've got the resources. And then the final attribute is you have the team. Oh, so I know who I'm going to call. I know. I'm going to call Joe, and I'm going to call Kathy, and I'm going to call Sue. They're doing the same thing, and I know that we get along well. We gel well together. Yes, this is the person that I'm going to say, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you. Because when I say I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you, that person is going to come and recognize, wow, what we're going to do together is lifelong. When these are established and in hand, when all of these are established and in hand, that is when you start digging. Now, I'm going to give you a quick few things before I close. I'm going quickly, and I'm going to come to a close very shortly. Actually, I think I did quite well. When digging the dirt, pitfalls that will be encountered while digging, there will. How many of you know there are some things that when you start a vision, you can't escape them? It's not any person cursing you. It's not any person saying that, you know, you're going to have a bad break or bad opportunity. No, there's some things that will happen, and you must expect them. You must learn how to work through them, and you must equally learn how to appreciate them, because they will happen. You will look dirty. How many of you know that if you go outside and you dig in dirt, you're going to look dirty? Come on, you will look dirty. You will have individuals that will look at you and they will say you are crazy, cuckoo. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know where you're going. All of these, you know, the dirt. They'll see dirt. They'll say, oh, what foolishness are you doing? What madness are you getting on with now? And the reason is because if you follow the blueprint, you have a level of secrecy inside of the cage that they will never be aware of, because you can't tell everybody everything. And as a result of their ignorance, when they see dirt flying and coming up in the air because you're digging your foundation, you will have those critics that will kind of speak some things about you in your project. You wouldn't have anything to show while digging. Sometimes while you're digging, there isn't going to be anything to show. You're going to be down. Your head is going to now go up below surface. That's when you go on the ground and you start preparing your foundation. You've got to go down first before you start to come up. And you might not have anything to show for it. And individuals might even tell you, they might dare to tell you, you're wasting your time. You're useless. What are you doing? You're crazy, because you don't have anything to show for your hours of toil, your long days, your weeks, sometimes your months. As a matter of fact, sometimes your years. How many of you know if you plant a vineyard of grapes and you plant grapevines, they take 3 years that they look like nothing is happening. And then after that 3 years, it's an amazing spring of life. It's just like the bamboo. You plant the bamboo in 5 years, it looks like nothing is happening. And you're going to look like that when you are starting to build your legacy, as you have your blueprint together, like nothing is happening. And you're going to have a lot of criticism and critics. You're going to have naysayers and gossip mongers and mockers. What is he doing? He's a madman. What? Look at him. Look at her. They will laugh. They will mock. But is your team strong enough that they're going to pull you together and says, we got this? Do you have a strong team? Do you have a strong conviction? That's an important question. Is your conviction to why you're doing it strong enough that you're going to rise above the naysayers? You're going to be confident that you've got this. You're going to be successful. And even if you don't see what you want to see in your lifetime, you are going to be guaranteed that you will leave the foundation and the blueprint that it will be seen eventually. But you must stick to it, and you must be convicted and convinced and confirm that you will be unmovable in your resolve. Dealing with prior incomplete projects. This is going to come up. You're going to have people that are going to remind you of the last project you started and you never finished it. Oh, you remember when you did this? You remember when you did that? Oh, you're useless. Of course, just go away. And you yourself, you're going to look at yourself and think to yourself, I remember, that's true. And you're going to, sometimes you might even get those feelings. Is this one of those projects that I'm going to start and it's going to fail and it's going to crash? You're going to ask yourself those questions. You're going to wrestle with that yourself. And you have to make sure that you are convinced enough, persuaded enough, have a team strong enough that you don't quit. But this is some dirt that you will certainly experience. These are some pitfalls. Self-project sabotage. Man, this is not working. This isn't going the way I want it. You lose focus sometimes, or you lose confidence, or you lose heart. It will happen. Let's even take to the extreme. Looking at Jesus in our Christian walk, that he says, Lord, if it is possible, take this cup from me. Did he lose focus? Did he become delusional, disillusioned, overwhelmed? Of course. So if we are called the creator of our heavens and the earth, and we acknowledge our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ that wrestled, and those of you who look at your leaders, your spiritual leaders, and your authorities that wrestled with challenges and disappointment and question, is this the right thing I'm doing? You will experience those pitfalls as well. Expect them graciously. They're a part of the process. The process of confirming that what you're doing is the right thing. Expecting people to catch your vision while you're in the trenches. Come on, somebody. Some people are going to look at you digging in your foundation and think, what are you doing? Are you digging graves? Are you trying to bury someone or something? What are you doing digging down there? Look at how far he's gone. I can't even see his head. Hey, down there, what are you doing? And because you have some things concealed and secret that you can't talk about, if you expect people to catch your vision, you're gonna fail. Don't expect them to catch it. They're not gonna catch it. The desire to be. You so want to be. Oh, I so want to be successful. I so want to be the popular person on LinkedIn. I so want to be the popular person in the UK. I so want to be the popular organization that people call. Sometimes the desire to be, and you want to take shortcuts. You want to cut corners. You want it to happen prematurely before it's time. How many of us look at our mango tree and we want to pick the mangoes because we say, oh my goodness, I don't want anybody to get these mangoes. This is a big harvest. You want to take them now. It's the same thing with our legacy. Sometimes we want to see the blossom and the fruit of our legacy. Our legacy is not like that. I'm going to give you a closing thought when we get to that stage about what our legacy really is. When should you go public? When should you go public? That's an interesting question. When should you go public? When should you go public? My answer to that question, when should you cut that red ribbon? Whenever you decide. You're the person that is going to decide when you're going public. For example, every single project is different. Every single legacy is different. The legacy of the class of SteelE needs to be public because we are an online organization, an online institution, and we're also on the ground, but we need to go public. We need for the world to see us. We started public. That's how we started. We built from being public. But what you're building and your legacy might be something that you might be doing in secret because you don't want to reveal it. For example, if you're an inventor and you want to leave an invention, you don't go public immediately. Oh no, I've got some inventions under my belt that I cannot afford to patent them. I'm telling you openly, I can't afford to patent them as yet because it's quite costly to have a patent in place. If you get what I'm saying. And if you have an invention or something that is worthy of global recognition, you better don't go public too soon. As a matter of fact, you don't even, when you have banks that are saying, pitch to us, you could be one of 10 persons that are going to win an opportunity to get your project funded. Hey, keep your invention far from those organizations because they will take them and you will never be one of the persons that is going to have the opportunity to get the finances. When to go public, you decide. You decide when you are going to go public, when you're confident. I actually think when you go public is when you're competent. Thank you. I'm His Excellency Dr. Michael Steele, the class of SteelE. And you can feel free to contact us. We're building a legacy, and I ran through this quite quickly. But in my last slide, if I should, there's this slide that I will share with you that's important. Don't lose sight of this one. You see this one says a YCAGEL is a journey, never a destination. And that's legacy backwards. Look at it and see it's legacy backwards. But I spelled it that way specifically because a lot of individuals don't know how to recognize you need to know the end from the beginning. You have to. If you don't know the end from the beginning, you will not be successful. And remember, it's a long journey. It's not a destination. If you think of your legacy as a destination, you'll get frustrated when you think you have not reached as yet. When you think that you are going to reach somewhere and you're wrestling to reach. A legacy is not a destination, it's a journey. So with that being said, I can go back to thank you for listening in, and I hope that you have gleaned something from this presentation that I shared with you. Thank you so very much for listening. And I will open for any questions. If there are any, okay. If there are any questions, I will just wave your hand or I will open for a question. And I'm going to be brief because we're going to bring our next speaker on, Stevenson Canada from out of Barbados. He will be coming on next. So go ahead, Your Excellency, Dr. Ewers.
Well done, Dr. Michael Steele, with your presentation, but just a quick one. You talk about the legacy blueprint. Your legacy-driven mindset that defines your passion in leadership for 100 years. Tell me where your fire comes from, sir.
Hey, my wife.
I know that you want that one.
I'm sorry, you were supposed to be a little bit more specific. Which fire are you referring to?
We're talking about the legacy, sir. I'll repeat my question. The legacy blueprint. What is your legacy-driven mindset that defines your passion in leadership for the 100 years? Where do you get that passion from, sir? Tell us.
I will be very transparent and honest with you. And thank you for the question, Your Excellency, Dr. Ewers. It's a good question because equally you are a part of the team. It has come from years of disappointment, years of personal frustration. Looking at myself as an individual from Barbados and seeing Barbados is a small island. I was born in the United Kingdom, raised in Barbados, traced my ancestral heritage to Africa. And then when I went to Africa, recognized why the troubles and the difficulties they're experiencing, why they exist. And if somebody could articulate those in a manner that is able to say, hey, come here, you're right about the problems you see. But let me share with you my perspective on those problems and see how we could work together to make that place a better place. And that's going to take a journey that the class of SteelE is going to be doing for the rest of our lives. We're going to be having individuals that are going to get mentored, and we're going to learn to rub shoulders, love each other, appreciate each other, value each other, and build relationships. So my passion, I love Stevenson Calendar because of our friendship, our relationship. I love Carlos and you and all of our teams and what you are offering to the world. And when we come together, there's a synergy and there is an energy that is undeniable. It's a fire that is unquenchable. There is no competition. There's just serious burning together. And that's unquenchable fire. And to be quite honest with you, that is where mine comes from. I'm not focusing on my disappointments, my frustrations, my anger, my unreached dreams or goals. I'm now focusing on there are people that are doing some amazing things. And just like you, man, if you join force with them, you guys are going to be an amazing team. So, sir, that's where my passion and my fire comes from. I hope I answered your question. Let me go on to somebody else. Who else has a question? I'm excited to hear, Steven. So that's why I'm rushing to get out of here. Uloma, go ahead, Uloma. What is your question?
Good afternoon from here. Thank you so much for a wonderful lecture. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you fine.
All right. It's been an amazing session. We've been loaded from seconds to minutes to hours. I'm having such a great time. All the speakers, you have done so well. Okay, a quick one, sir. You said that for your journey or your idea or your vision, you should know or
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. She was saying you come close to me, and I'm saying no, you come close. There's more space on my. Okay, sorry. Go on. Sorry.
All right. Okay, you made mention of knowing the end or having an idea of your end from the beginning. My question is, what's your take on the saying that goes, ideas are not fully formed? You could have an idea of something, but it is actually when you embark or you start working on that idea that other parts begins to be clear to you. So what's your take on that?
Okay, thank you for the question. It's a very interesting question, but I will exercise a little bit of wisdom, if I might say so, myself. Ideas are known from the end because your mind sees a need, or your awareness or experience or exposure shows you a need, and you know what that need is. For example, simple, digging a well in a village. I'm going to use a simple one, a well inside of a village. Somebody goes into the village and see there's a need in the village. They need a well. But then you don't know how you're going to get the well there. You don't know who has the equipment, who has the team. So every step of the way, things are added to it. So I appreciate and I agree with you that ideas have things constantly added to them, but you must know what you are starting. You must know what you want to accomplish when you start it. What do I want to accomplish in the next 100 years, or what do I want to see? I want to see a group of honest, ethical individuals all throughout Africa doing business, doing projects, working with persons from other countries. I want to see that. And how am I going to do that? It's going to happen with all the ideas that are going to come as a result of people who are coming together to make it happen. That's how it works. So I know what I want to accomplish. A vision knows what is the expected or what it would like to outcome. When the Wright brothers first went to learn to fly, it was traveling by the boat across the oceans. But they thought there was a way that we could use and harness the power of the wind to travel at a faster speed above the oceans. And they did everything in looking at developing the technology behind aerodynamics today so that they could design flight. And flight today is a far cry from what it was back then. But the reality is they knew what they wanted to accomplish, which was getting to harness the power of the ear that exists. I hope that answers your question. I could go into more depth, but I don't want to take up much more time. Any more quick questions? Are there any more quick questions before I hand over the rein? All right, so the first lady is there saying, good. Well, I want to thank you so very much for allowing me the privilege of sharing that. As a matter of fact, that's an in-depth study that we will be having in the class of SteelE, and I will also do a proper in-depth study in that dynamic. But I think that I have lent some value to it, and I hope that as you listen back to this broadcast, share it far and wide. There's no need for copyright or branding or anything like that, and incorporate it into your own teaching because it's useful information for you and also for others. I'm His Excellency Dr. Michael SteelE. Thank you so very much for listening. I will give way to the First Lady.
Thank you, Your Excellency. It's good to see your faces again. I can see you're all still attentive. It's been a long day, but we have one more amazing speaker for you. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Mr. Stevenson Callender is on board, and I'll introduce him to you. That we have to read from this side. Okay. Mr. Stevenson Callender is an engaging sales strategist and business manager. His prolific successes have caused him to be recognized a specialist in the insurance, financial, pharmaceutical, and sports sectors across the island of Barbados. Stevenson has been in the financial and insurance business for almost 20 years, successfully earning himself a number of prestigious titles, including Insurance Guru, and winning multiple awards. He has also worked with new startups and existing businesses. But what makes him successful isn't only his mastery in managing business, but how well he can make a connection with the general public and how well he tries to help others find solutions and investment opportunities. Join with me as I introduce you to Mr. Stevenson Callender. He will be leading us as he discusses men leading the way in building generational wealth. You're welcome, Stevenson.
Welcome, Stevenson. There you go.
getting all tongue-tied.
Oh, great. We finally got it on mute. Good morning, class of SteelE. How are you?
We're doing well, and it's evening for us
Wonderful.
here in the UK, and I think China is a whole lot further. It might be morning in China for
Morning,
for the others.
Yeah, it's still morning, but it actually is just short of 11 o'clock. Let me start because I don't want to take up too much of the class of SteelE's time. It's really the decade of success, and I love your slogan. So we're going to go straight into it, right? But I just want to pause a minute to thank you again, this class of SteelE, for inviting me to share in this opportunity. My task today is a big one, as you realize, the role of men as it relates to generational wealth. And I love the concept of the class of SteelE because it is gearing towards making the world a better place and connecting us from all different territories and all different countries all around the world. So it'd be good that we learn a lot from each other. Today's topic is one that we have been discussing for centuries: a man's role. A man's role is so important as it relates to everything else that we see in our day-to-day. I hope you guys can still hear me. Huh? In this instance, we're going to link the man's role.
I'm sorry, Stevenson, you're sharing the screen. You're sharing your screen, or you want me to do it for you?
I want you to share the screen for me.
All right, well, just give me 1 second. Intro a little bit, and let me load it up. Just intro, and I'll load it up.
Okay, no problem. In this instance, we're going to talk about the class of we're going to talk about the man's role as it relates to
My email address. What's my email?
generational wealth. You got it, Dr. SteelE?
I apologize because we thought that you were going to share it. So just give me the split second to get it. So I do apologize for that.
Okay, no problem.
This is
the introduction. I haven't already started the slideshow yet. So you're good to go? Or just a few more minutes?
We're just battling between getting it from the email and the thing. So don't worry, just give us.
Okay, it should be there shortly. Yeah, it should be there shortly.
Yeah.
Just let our listeners bear us for 2 minutes until we get it loaded up.
Is this still the same? All right, coming at you. All right, thank you so very much for your patience. Stevenson, you're good to go. Just tell me when you're ready for each slide to change.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're hearing you well.
Okay, perfect, perfect. All right, let's continue. I believe that this topic is fitting because it's a discussion that we've been having for a very long time. And it is so important, a man's role as it relates to the important things within our lives. Without a man's role, the outcome could be different for the future, especially for our youth. I am Stevenson Callender from Barbados, and we're going to start. Just give me the first slide, Dr. Steele. I Dr. Steele, go the first slide. Okay, now, leadership is an action of guidance. When I was doing my research, there were many definitions that came as it relates to leadership. But I believe the most impactful one is the word guidance, because to lead somebody is to lead them down a path of success. And as we begin to talk about generational wealth, we want to make sure that we have all of our T's crossed and all our I's dotted, because one step out of the sequence would end you right back where you started, and you will not have the success of generational wealth. Wealth can be any form of asset that our family pass on to their children or their grandchildren. Like everything else, we have to break it down in steps and break it down in categories. I really want to deal with financial leadership, lifestyle guidance, emotional guidance, health leadership, spiritual guidance, and the freedom guidance. Now, I love to learn, and I love to teach people what I have learned. I also love to share the results of that knowledge. And in my practice of generational wealth, I am still a young man trying to work through all of the steps and all of the battles that you have to do to get to this generational wealth, because it's not a custom for people to look at generational wealth. Sometimes we look to plan for our future. Some people just have kids, other people just plan to have kids. And when you look at the result of both, the ones who plan for the kids are the ones who succeed better than the one who did not plan. So I believe everything is planning, everything takes a step. Now, just to put a little footnote to what Dr. Steele said in his presentation, and I put down a nice note that I will use when he said, show up and be integrated. That is so powerful. The same thing with generational wealth. Don't tell people that you want to get generational wealth, but yet you're not putting yourself in a position to be taught how to get generational wealth. I love seminars and I love reading books to educate myself more. And I know that that is the way that you should, and the things that you should do really to make sure that you go forward to be successful as it relates to all walks of life. So give me next slide, Jenny, please. Let's talk about some of the men's role and when we're building generational wealth. Generational wealth is so important that we can't leave anything to chance. There must be a strategic plan. There must be some measure of motivation. And there must be some measure of pride when you're doing such. Let's take, for example, the man has to ensure that he earns a great living. Generational wealth starts with money. You can't start generational wealth and you don't have a good financial plan in place. Secondly, the love of your family. You cannot have generational wealth and you do not love your family, or your family does not love you. You also have to be the defender and the protector of that said family, and also protect the steps as it relates to generational wealth. The reason why I like seminars like the class of SteelE and other seminars that I go to is because you have to be educated. You can't lead any person or lead any business without a major education. Then you become an example. You must be always evolving. And I got this phrase, the next phrase from the Holy Scriptures, when it spoke about duty bound. And Dr. Steele spoke about it when he's talking about show up and be integrated. It means that when you're duty bound, you do not make any excuses. You show up all the time and you succeed all the time. You show up whether it hurts, whether you're tired, whether you're sweating, you show up all the time, and you make sure that you meet that success. You have to adopt a big growth mindset mentality for yourself and your family. And that's how generational wealth ties into all of it. You have to make sure that you adopt the concepts that are correct. And I love this one because most of the time, our leaders take this responsibility of handling the checkbook. And if you in a position in your family and you can't manage a checkbook, then you should not be the leader. I believe a man should be the leader as it relates to the finances in a family. All right? Be the minister of finance in the family. All right? That's just a position, Dr. Steele, you know? But even if you're not, if you're not in control of the finances, you should know exactly what is going on as it relates to the finances. Because to me, you're born a leader. Some of us don't accept the role of a leader. Therefore, that's why some other people have to take the responsibility of certain things. I'm not necessarily referring to finances, but I'm talking about in general. All right. So we have to have a solid estate plan. Estate plan links back to generational wealth. When you plan this X amount of money for your children, the asset that you have put down, this for your children, this for your grandchildren. And I love to say all the time, I like to give away things when I live in. I don't like to wait till people have to fight to get the things. So I like to give my family and my friends, the people in my circle, what is for them while I'm living. And I think it's more beneficial to me by doing that. So that when my journey has ended and I cross over, there's no fighting, there's no quarreling, there's no misinterpretation of what is supposed to be for you and what is supposed to be for you. All right, give me the next slide, Judy. Now, this slide talks about the benefits of a man's leadership. Well, the reason why I put the word good in there, because they have some men that may not be so good, but it's still leading. When we look at history and some of the guys who were still leaders, but they were not effective in promoting good humanitarian options, they were still a leader, but that's the reason why I decided to put the word good just before the man's leadership. I believe he allows everyone in his circle to be self-aware. If he does not do that, then it creates a lot of chaos. He encourages strategic thinking, innovation, and action. Those things are so powerful as it relates to a leader. He demonstrates accountability and resilience. He protects the business, he protects his family. When you look to the back, you see all the knives in his back, but none of them are reaching the family. That is what we call accountability and resilience. He ensures the vision is clear to all. I like this statement, where there's no vision, the people perish, and that is so fitting. Because a blind man driving a car down the road, he does not know exactly where you're going, but you have to have a vision. You must build confidence and trust. And I love this part because of my Christian background. You promote good ethical and moral character. And last but not least, he enables others to develop and grow. That is one of the prime elements as relates to a leader. If a leader does not push another person to develop and grow, then he has to look at his leadership ability and his leadership skills. Now, there are a few things that I also research. Jenny can go to the next slide, but I just want to plug in something here while you go to the next slide. I realized that there's 7 critical elements as it relates to generational wealth and people who plan generational wealth and people who do not plan generational wealth. I also link it to the poor, and I also link it to the rich. Now, number 1, you realize that a lot of people who do not plan effectively, and I'm talking about generational wealth, they tend to watch a lot of television. While the people who plan generational wealth come to seminars like Class of SteelE, they read books and they research information, right? That's number 1. Again, people who do not plan for generational wealth, they always are paid for their time. Where people who plan their generational wealth get paid on their results. That is one of the things that I look at consistently. I make sure that I operate on the right spectrum when it comes to planning as it relates to doing the things that will not help me to develop. Thirdly, people who do not plan generational wealth do not take responsibility for anything. People who look at generational wealth and plan for the family, their back is so broad that they take the responsibility when things are not going right, and they want to make sure that the success happens. Most people who do not want to take the time to do all these things always say money is the root to all evil. But I believe poverty is the root to all evil, Dr. Steele, right? And I understand that it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of disappointments, it takes many different things to get to that successful part that you want. And as you said in your presentation, when you cut it short, we don't want all the talk, we don't want all the emails. We want you to show up every time there's something to be done. We want you to be integrated into the concept that success is what we want for decades to come. And I understand that concept, which means that I have put measures in place to make sure that I do what it takes to make sure that people who are near me and people who are next to me and people who are in my circle also benefit from my knowledge of getting towards success. Now, I don't want to bore you too much with all the things that are in my mind as it relates to leadership and so on. And there's specific leadership strategies that I follow consistently. I love servant leadership. I believe that you should serve people first before you become a leader. And all of the books that we read, people have give of their time, people have give of their energies, people have give of their money. People have given away so much kind before they are rewarded anything in the end. Servant leadership is the first and foremost leadership style that if you really want to succeed, that you should look at. Then you can take a step to strategic leadership, making strategic plans to get to that successful part. And of course, we are all human beings and we all have a mind. So we can't operate on a dictatorship kind of concept. You must allow the people that are in your circle to have an opinion on things. And then guide them if they're down the wrong path, but you still have to listen and be democratic as you relate to the people that are around your circle. So you listen first, get the opinions from people, and then afterwards, you make the decision. You tell them about, if you look at this way, this your way makes sense, but if you try it this way, this may give you the more success going down the road. And people appreciate those kind of concepts as opposed to telling them, this is what you need to do. And this is what you need to do. People are more receptive when you listen to them first before you do anything. Now, I believe also in delegating because I'm only one person. And therefore, if you do not delegate, you will realize that you have to do everything yourself. And your success will be slowed down because you don't have people supporting your concept. And of course, a visionary leader is one that I cherish. First, you have to have the vision in order to lead people. If you don't have a vision, therefore, you can't lead anyone at all. And Coming on to the end, I talk about coaching, leading by the hand. Dr. T also spoke about it. Hold the hand of people, lead them down the road, make sure that they do the right thing, make sure they're successful. The greatest thing in the world is when you coach a person and they reach their success, the feeling that you get is next to none. And of course, finally, and one of the most important ones that I have is transformational leadership. You must be always evolving. You must always transform into something better each time. When you do that, you're seen as one of the great leaders in this world. Just continue to transform yourself into somebody better each time. All right, give me next slide, Junie. Now, I spoke about this the last time when I had the other discussion last week, and I thought it was fitting to bring it here as relates to the men's conference. There are several forms of generational wealth, and some people only look at the financial aspect as it relates to it, but I believe generational wealth is a combination of things. And if we get the combination of things right, what happens is that your life is a lot easier. People are more clear on what they do, and you get a lot more peace. I believe in relationships as it relates to generational wealth. Without relationships, there's nothing happening here. Without family love, there's nothing happening there. Without a business strategy, there's nothing happening. Without the area of looking at finance, there's nothing happening there. If your lifestyle is one that does not fit promoting growth, encouragement, transformation, there's nothing happening there. If your health is not good, you cannot lead a person because you will be always absent. And this week I was doing some research, and as it relates to health, a guy told me 90% of what we put in our body contributes to 90% of what sicknesses we have. So I kind of pay close attention to what I put in my body because I only have one temple, and this temple has to do a lot of things before it crosses over. I believe that with generational health, you got to help you with the person develop, because sometimes when you just give $1 to a person and they do not understand what has to be done with that dollar, then they will lose that dollar. But you also have to be personally develop the people that are around you consistently so that they understand when they acquire this wealth, what to do with this wealth. And when I consistently listen to some of the encouraging tapes and motivational tapes, I think it was Les Brown who said that he had a son, and his son is 5 years old, and now his son is 21 years old. If he had given his car to his son when he was 5 years old to drive versus 21, there'd be two different outcomes. The same person, but two different outcomes. So we have to understand that there's a specific time where we pass on certain things, and we have to be patient with the development and the personal development of the people that are around us. So you won't want to give a baby a chicken leg versus some formula, because a chicken leg will choke the baby where the formula goes down easy. So it's a specific time. And last but not least, on generational wealth, I also factor in the spiritual aspect as it relates to generational wealth. Well, I believe that once we have listed and we pay attention to the list that I have here, our generational wealth building will be created easier. And as a man, we have to instill these things as it relates to our family and the people that are around us. And I believe that a man's role is really, really important. And if we skim on that leadership and if we skim on that responsibility, it could have some serious repercussions in the future decades to come. Let's move to the next slide. A man's role, as I said earlier, is so important, because before a man is born, they're always making plans for us. When a king and a queen is married and they get their first son, what is it called? He has to be the heir to the throne. He isn't born yet, but yet he's heir to the throne. A man's responsibility is so important that if you take it lightly, they will have some serious consequences for the future of our youth. And that's why I pay so much attention to it as it relates to my kids. I have 2 sons and a daughter, but I make sure that I instill this in my 2 sons every single day, that the importance of his role as it relates to building generational wealth, protecting his family, building his family, and making them feel loved. A man is born with the instruction of being the head. When that head loses its way, there can only be chaos. Wealth provides you with endless options in life. And when I talk about wealth, I'm not only talking about money, as I listed before, I'm talking about love. I'm talking about responsibility. I'm talking about commitment. I'm talking about show up every time. Regardless of the pain, show up every time. You will experience a lot more freedom when you follow these principles. I mean, when a man leads correctly, everything seems to just balance out the correct way. When we go away from that structure, that's when I believe that the chaos comes. You still don't have to worry about bills and expenses. I believe as a man, I don't have to, my family don't have to worry about bills. Whatever is theirs is theirs. But I have made the concept, I have understood, and I have paved a way that I take care of the full household. Whatever they get is theirs to do what they like, but I know they will do well because I instilled the same thing about generational wealth. So what I teach my kids in the household is make sure that you lead correctly so that later on, do the hard work now, daughter still do the hard work now, so that you can live easier down the road. And many people don't understand that. Do the hard work now and in the future. And sometimes it only takes about 20 good years, hard good years. And then you're gonna live to 80 years old. You got 60 good years of wealth and happiness from just putting in 20 years of hardship. That's what I tell my kids all the time. 10 years of school for education. Then you have 50 or 60 plus years to enjoy life. When you're educated in those 10 to 12 years, sacrifice those first 10 years of your life in educating yourself, learning what you can learn, and then put it to practice for the next 60 years. Then your life will be a lot easier. The problem has come when we want to play around when it's school time. We want to play around when it's time to work. And then later on, our retirement, we have to go back and be a security guard. That's something that I will not do. I will plan now that I'm young. I'm going to put in my 40 good years hard, or my 20 good years hard. Then I can live easier for the next 40 or 50 years without any worry. I hope the classes understand what I'm saying. And the role of a man is to instill these things within our offspring. All right, let's go to the next slide. Oh, we've done a question and discussion. Oh, I thought I had some more. But what I'm saying is that, in a nutshell, a man's role, I take it very serious, as you will probably hear the passion in my voice, because some of what we're seeing now and what we're experiencing now is a little challenge, and we as men have to make sure that our roles are a clear example to young men that are coming up. I believe that the young men are the strength of the family, and if they're led properly, then our generation can operate a lot easier in this path. So, class of SteelE, that is my short presentation. I love always being here. I love to see Dr. SteelE and the First Lady. They left me a little while ago in Barbados, but it's good at technology. We can still see each other's face and still communicate as though we never left. All right. Both of you were a loss to Barbados. We hope you come back soon. But, but the value is not too far away. All right, so I can break now for discussion and questions if they have any. We're discussing the man's role as it relates to generational wealth.
Thank you so very much, Stephen. Come on, let's celebrate him. Come on, all the way from Barbados, and celebrate you, Stevenson. Are there any questions for Stevenson? Any questions based on his subject? Any questions? I see Dr. Charles smirking. Dr. Charles, you want to unmute yourself, please? Go ahead, Dr. Charles. Go ahead, don't be shy.
Yeah. Bless you, sir. Your Excellency. You talked about the man being as a head of the family and then creating financial legacy for a generational legacy. Do you think as well that if a man is not supported by a woman, that these things, all these things you share will be possible?
Yes, a good question.
If it's not supported by the woman.
Good question. Now, I believe that the responsibility lies solely on the man. So I tend not to put that if a woman is not supported. I believe that if you do what is right, the woman will fall in line. For lack of a better term. Sometimes we make the wrong choice in creating a union with a person who is not on the same trajectory as us. And that's where the problem comes. All right, we can work together, but if you have a partner that you're performing well and you're doing good and they're still not supporting, then you have to make a decision on what you have to do. But I believe once you found that soulmate and that person understands your vision and the direction that you're going, they will always support you. But I will always say, if you make the wrong choice from the beginning, then it cannot end well. It cannot end well. So I put the responsibility on me to choose who I want to help me to develop to that next level.
Well, I think, Stevenson, I agree with you. That was a bitter pill to swallow. Experience has taught me that is a factual pill that you have to take. You know, they say, but please, it tastes awful, but it works.
It works.
But the truth is that you need a companion that both you and the companion can see eye to eye. Equally, when you're young, a woman that is young develops nine years faster than a man, and a woman is seeing a future, and a man is seeing fun. And then when the man meets, two F's. Hey, do you see that F? And the woman say yes, and she say, you see that F too? Yes. But the man's F is fun, and hers is future. And then the truth is that when a man gets to the age of responsibility and accountability, and then he starts thinking, then he finds himself with a companion that has become so frustrated with trying to get him there that now she's no longer interested. And when he starts, she somehow seems to have lost that desire momentum to do it with him, because the years that he showed uselessness, the woman has already become overwhelmed. So I think the dynamic is, it changes, but the most important thing is when you find someone and you want to build a legacy. That's why this conference was focused on a legacy. A legacy means having a blueprint with an understanding of what you want to see at the end, not what you want to see right now, what you want to see at the end, and you work at it from today.
As I told your daughter just now, I seldomly put the responsibility on the partner. I never put the responsibility on the partner. If I choose this partner, that is my responsibility. And I have to take whatever comes.
Yes.
If I didn't want that responsibility, then I would not have chose that partner at all. As you said earlier, sometimes some people develop faster than some. And therefore, you have to understand where you're at and where that person is at. And once you understand that, that is when the unison seems nice and smooth. All right, any more questions?
Anybody else have a question?
Or comment?
No questions out of China? China is in your far, no questions? Okay, China's waving at me. Any questions out of Nigeria, out of Ghana? Any questions? All right, well, it looks like you have been relieved of duties early, Stevenson.
Early. Yes. Two good important questions.
Yeah, I see. Oh, Stephen, wait. We have a late runner-up, out of Nigeria. Stephen, I will unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Well done.
I've been in the background, sir. I was listening to him. Great presentation, Your Excellency. Stevenson, my namesake. Great presentation.
Great.
I want to thank the class of SteelE, most especially His Excellency Dr. Michael SteelE and Jenny SteelE. Don't go.
Yes, we can hear you if you speak, Stephen. We can hear you. Go ahead, Stephen Abu.
Seems to lost some connection.
Yeah, I heard him say, hey! He disappeared and dropped off. We look like we lost it. That's typical of Nigeria and African network. I'm going to cook, and they disappear. Stephen said when you come back, I'm not sure if he's going to come back. But anybody else for any questions or comments? All right, Stevenson, thank you very much, Steve. Go ahead, darling.
Stephen may come back.
Stephen?
Oh, he's probably logging out to
He's
log back in and try.
log back in.
Okay,
Just want to give him a chance.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
You see, that's a woman's touch, Doctor. We would have moved on to the next step.
You don't know how much today she had me on the heavy manners. I see Dr. Iman while he's coming back, Dr. Iman, Dr. Alam. Go ahead, Dr. Alam.
Hello.
Hello.
First of all, I wanted to thank all respected speakers because they are doing amazing work. And also, all thankful must be expanded to Dr. Michelle SteelE. Really, you are doing amazing work. Thank you very much. I missed, I think, one session because I am from the morning with you, but because some tedious works, I need to left, so I missed some lectures. But please, kindly, if there is the YouTube channel, please send the link to me. Also, if there is a feedback link for the certificate, please inform me. Thank you very much. I am very grateful to your great efforts. And also, I need to follow you because this is my first time with you. I am very happy to attend with you. You are not only supporting men, you are supporting women also. For this reason, I am here. We are human beings, so because of humanity, we are same. No difference. Thank you very much.
Dr. Emma, could you kindly tell us where you are from and what you do so that we get to know you a little bit better in the class, Steve, please?
It will be an honor to me. This is Dr. Iman Alam from Egypt. I am academic staff member in Faculty of Science, Al-Azhar University, Girls Branch in Cairo. Already I know Africa very well because already I visited Nigeria and I have got malaria and typhoid during the visit because no immunity in my body. So I served Africa in the form of fighting some neglected tropical diseases because I am phytochemist. Okay. Also, I studied after finishing my PhD of science as phytochemist. I studied law, and I am doing master in intellectual property rights and innovation development. Also, I am student of the first, but succeed. So I transferred now to the second level of psychology. I am a student of psychology to learn more about mindset of my students to be good educators. So I studied psychology also. This is me. It's a great honor to be with you. Already, I organized many conferences and workshops via Biosciences Research Support Foundation because I am vice president of this foundation. It's a Nigerian, but it's a global, so I am in it. That's all what I have already. I engaged in many workshops as invited guest speakers. I visited different countries like India, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan, and many other countries. And I'm very happy to be included with you. It's my first time with you. It will be, inshallah, not the last. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much for being with us. And I look forward to yourself and First Lady. You guys will do your dialoguing. And I can assure you that, like we said, it is just like minds coming together to keep the fire burning and the passion. So thank you so very much for being with us today. We appreciate your presence and your representation of Egypt in the list of the countries that are here today.
Yes, you're welcome.
Stephen, please unmute yourself and try again. We're not going to give up on you. Don't worry. The First Lady says give him another shot.
Oh, sorry, I'm very sorry. I went off. Our services is not very good, and I'm very sorry, Your Excellency. Very sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to appreciate about Your Excellency for organizing this. It's quite inspiring and it's very good, and it's healthy to the bones. I want to ask Stevenson, my namesake, His Excellency Stevenson, that there are different forms of generational legacies you put forward. Are they inevitably going to be manifested in just an individual? Because it's spiritual way, you have financial way, you have other ones up to 10 there. Are we saying is it going to manifest in one person? Is it going to manifest in a family, this whole spiritual legacy, or we are specific with our legacies? Because it's a blueprint, it's what we want. And it's the eyes of an individual. I mean, in every family, are these things going to be manifest in one way or the other? Or is it that we are going to be specific on some of them? We are going to work on some of them that is peculiar to our environment or peculiar to us, a threat that we want to exhibit ourselves, want to bring out ourselves. So I just want to know whether it can be doable for everything, can be doable in an individual, or it's just we pick some specific ones to leave legacies for unborn generations. Thank you, sir, Your Excellency. My name remains Abu Stevenson. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for your question, my namesake.
Yeah.
A simple answer that I can put forward to you. I believe that the topic is generational wealth. Generational wealth is really the umbrella. All of the other things that I've listed that we should pay attention to under generational wealth will help us to get to that ultimate goal of providing that generational wealth for our family. I believe that all of the steps that is needed to be one whole person as relates to make sure that generational wealth comes to a success is this list of things that I have placed under that umbrella. So some of them will come easy and natural to us, but there are other things that we have to work on to make sure that building the generational wealth is one complete goal. As it relates to, because most of the time when people talk about generational wealth, they only talk about money. And money cannot get you to that true generational wealth that you want. You have to make sure, because we're dealing with people and we're dealing with the future. So therefore, there are other elements that are attached to the generational wealth that we have to pay attention to, and not only finance. We have to talk about relationships. We have to talk about our spirituality. We have to talk about our responsibility. We have to talk about how we can lead people, how we can coach them into this generational wealth. I made the analogy earlier that if I have a son that's 5 years old and I have a son that is 21 years old, if I would have given my son when he was 5 years old the car to drive, it was not the correct time because he can't drive a car. But then I will have two different results. It's the same person that we're dealing with, but I will have two different results from a 5-year-old versus a 21-year-old son as related to driving. So I believe that some of the topics that I would have listed under the generational wealth and the benefits and so on, under the umbrella of generational wealth, some might come natural to you, but the other ones that seem to be a little challenge, you have to work on it, because to me, it's a whole concept and it's one big ball of success once we incorporate all of these things. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does, but it brings another question to me, sir. Thanks for the answer. Will you say that somebody that has been working on his own relationship and spirituality, and suddenly death comes to take him off and all that, and he has not achieved maybe his goal, he was going towards asset or financial this thing. Are you saying the man is a success if he has impacted this form of this thing into his family already before he gets to the optimum? Yes. Are we saying by these two measures, by these two parameters, he's a success?
Yes. Now, I don't want to take too much time, but I want to explain a bit on the question that you asked. Now, when we're building legacy and we incorporate all the elements, you spoke about a death. When we're building a legacy and a death occurs, when you have coached that person, knowing full well that there's at some point there's a step that you go to the other side. I call it a portal to the next side. Then it's easier for a person to operate, knowing full well, because what you teach and what you learn, it makes it easier for you to understand certain things. So that is the answer that I would give as it relates to a person dying and so on. But once he's living and he has taught what he needs to be, he taught as generational wealth, and the people who you're leading understand that generational wealth, then he has been a success.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
I'm grateful, sir. Thank you, Excellence.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, you're welcome. We have a question from Her Excellency, Dr. Comfort Adu. Here she is.
I think she probably dropped off.
Okay, she dropped off.
She dropped off.
Okay. All right. I think that has really stimulated us greatly. Stevenson, thank you so very much for your time today. I appreciate your challenges, and we continue equally to keep you and your company in prayer. You have our blessings. For those who are experiencing the challenges as a result of the COVID restrictions in Barbados equally. So please accept our thanks for your participation under these very trying circumstances as well. You still have that Stevenson smile. I think customer relations all these years have served you well under pressure. So thank you so very much, Stevenson. Class of Steel family, please welcome Stevenson to our family officially. And we look forward to having you in many of our sessions that we will have. Even if you should record your submissions and submit them to us, we would definitely have you on board. So thank you for that, Stevenson. And,
you're welcome.
And have a wonderful evening.
Yes. Well, you know, you're close to my heart. We've worked together, and it's a pleasure and an honor to have you accepting our invitation to be here. I'm totally delighted. We're both thrilled because it's been a while since we've really been communicating and so on. But I'm very happy and pleased with everything that has transpired. Thanks for enlightening us. You have really given us food for thought, you know, because generational wealth is quite a new topic for some people, as most Black families don't really quite practice it or talk about it. So I'm glad that we have been able to bring it to the forefront of people's mind and show them the importance of doing it. And you have done that very well, and I'm very grateful to you for doing that in the class of SteelE. So God bless you, continue to bless you and your family, as well as your businesses and your circle as a whole. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Stephen. And let them know that Jeannie's doing all right. She's fine. All right. So with that being said, it looks like we have come to the end of our conference. What time is it? We've come to the end of our conference right now. And as a result of that, We have 10 more minutes to 4 o'clock. But how many of you know that we can finish early and on time? That would be lovely. I'm actually going to do that so that I can get back to my bed. So with that being said, thank you so very much for being with us. I want to give a special thanks to those in Zoom. I really sincerely want to say thanks to the Zoom technical team behind the scenes who have given us 6 hours uninterrupted. We had a successful conference. The platform served us well. I'm very, very grateful, and I acknowledge that Zoom technology really has served us well on this conference. I also want to thank my team. First, without fail, I want to thank the First Lady, Jeannie. She has done all of the flyers, all this work. She's put it together, and she's done a fantastic job. Come on, I think she deserves a hand. And
my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
she has kept me reading notes and reading files and going through fine print at hours I wanted to close my eyes, but I had to be reading at 3, 4, 5 in the mornings. But it's all part of the process. Long hours to get what you want to accomplish. I also want to thank the class of SteelE. I want to thank our COO and the person of Her Excellency Doreen Burunji, our Chief Executive Officer, and our Chief of Protocol, His Excellency Dr. Ewers, Bishop Dr. Comfort Adu, all of the class of SteelE management team. Thank you so very much. I equally want to celebrate the class of SteelE Youth who we mentor on Saturdays. You guys showed up and you guys really did us proud. I'm very pleased to be saying, Ruth, in China, I kind of have this buzz and this excitement that we have somebody all the way in China that when we're doing classes at 3 a.m. for them, they are not in bed, they're in the class of SteelE. Ruth and Elizabeth. Elizabeth, it is a pleasure to have you as well in the class of SteelE. Those from Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, all the regions in Africa who have joined in the class of SteelE, I want to especially say thank you for being with us. However, the greatest part of this, without you guys, it would not have been possible. I want to say a special thank you to all of our speakers. I want to say a special thank you to Her Excellency Dr. Anita Davis-DeFoe. Dr. DeFoe is one of us. She's family, and her busy schedule and all of her responsibilities that she undertakes, yet she gives her time dedicated and committedly to the class of SteelE, going beyond the call of duty. So I want to acknowledge Her Excellency Dr. Anita Davis-DeFoe for giving us of her time so wonderfully for this men's session. She did it for the women's session and also now for the men's. I also equally want to say a special thank you to the Professor Carlos Santos, Professor Carlos Santos from Ethos Asset Management. In the midst again of their very busy schedule, they have taken their time to come and be a part of this conference. To Carlos Santos and his team, thank you so very much for preparing a wonderful presentation. I also want to say thank you to Martin Weightman. Martin, who have came and he did well in his busy schedule. Again, thanks very much to Martin for his submission, his time, his dedication, his commitment, but also for looking at carrying the class of SteelE brand where he is equally going and representing. Last but not least, I actually think saving the last or the best for last is Stevenson Calendar. Stevenson, all the way from Barbados, our homeland, our brother, our friend, and a part of the class of SteelE now. Stevenson, we want to thank you equally for your contribution and what you have done. And without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen,
I also want to thank you, my husband. You've thanked everybody, so I also need to thank you.
Couldn't thank myself. Couldn't thank myself.
I acknowledge you for your hard work and your dedication to seeing the lives of many people around the world be fruitful, be successful, be all that they can be. That everyone that you come across, that you enter into their lives, that you make their lives better. I thank you for the person that you are. I thank you for your commitment to all these people here today and people beyond the class of SteelE. And I'm grateful that you are the person that you are, because you caused me to be a better me. So thank you.
Stevenson, that's the part about the happy family. Ladies and gentlemen, we love you guys so much. You guys have caused the class of SteelE. Let me allow you guys to unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself. You guys have caused the class of SteelE to go to the next level with a very successful conference today. I'm very pleased. We are even 6 minutes early in closing.
Wow.
Thank you very much, guys. We love you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Excellency.
We look forward to keeping in contact with those who are new to the
platform.
platform.
One thing, there's a link that is inside of the that we just shared in the chat. Click on that link and you will be joining our WhatsApp group for all of the persons, and we will be sending you a certificate of participation for those persons who were a part of this conference. So click on the link and go into the WhatsApp group, and you will be a part of it. Stevenson, you will have get your certificate of participation as well. Thank you. Of presenter certificate.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Jeannie. Dr.
Thank
Mrs.
you
Jeannie,
very much,
SteelE.
everybody.
I know I have not been fair on you because I did not pass the accolade to you. I've been saying thank you to HE Dr. SteelE. Behind every successful man, there's always an iron lady. I really, glorify your efforts, your support, everything, and the journey so far in your family and the invitation to class of SteelE. And I am a visionary and I can see your class is still going very far. Thank you. I am representing, my name is Olubukola Ashalushopeju, a mining consultant entrepreneur CEO. I've been in petroleum exploration before deviating into mining. Well, I'm just me. I'm representing Republic of Ireland and Nigeria. I work across both. So it's nice being part of you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your compliment. I look forward to getting to know you as well, and everyone.
Me too. I can't wait. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Dr.
Thank you, Your
it's nice to
Excellency.
listen to you twice. It's amazing. I was there last weekend and here too. It's just so enriching, so impactful. Thank you, and I thank every other speakers as well. Dr. Carlos, thank you, everyone. See you again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hello, Yuloma. You can make your comment. I know you were about to say something, Yuloma. You were about to say something.
I just want to say thank you so much. You're welcome. A blast. Yes.
Good. I'm glad.
The reshuffling, a rearrangement of the mindset.
Good. And I saw
have a clear vision. Thank you so much.
I saw on His Excellency's Facebook that you're now doing your business. It looks absolutely wonderful. Good job. Way to go. I'm so happy for you. I'm delighted for you. I will connect with you some more, and I'll keep cheering you on, but I'm really, really happy to see that you have made that big step. Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Ruth. You're all so quiet.
I'm just amazed today with all the presentations. I've taken a lot that has rendered me speechless.
Oh. I'm glad it's been good for you. We'll be sending out the recording within the coming days. We'll send out both the men's conference and the women's conference. So in your spare time, you can always take some time to go back and look and refresh your mind on any information that you weren't clear on or anything. And if you have any questions at that point in time, you're in the WhatsApp group. You can always, get one of us to answer your questions or give you some guidance. We're available to helping you with that.
Okay, I think that would be very great, helpful, because my husband joined. He was enjoying it, and he said he couldn't wait because he had classes to attend. So so helpful. I will get it and then send it to him for him to listen to it as well.
Right.
Thank you.
Oh,
So
that's good. I'm glad you invited your husband and he attended. So now you both can collaborate on the information. That's great. That's great. Spot on. That's good. That's good.
All right.
All right, everyone. God bless
Elizabeth,
you all. Continue
you're
to have
quiet,
a good
Elizabeth.
weekend. I see that she didn't have
Elizabeth,
her
I hope
camera
you are
on
not
today.
sleeping in class because you're in China and it's late. Elizabeth?
I think she's not feeling well. That's why today she's so.
Okay.
Okay.
Give her our regards, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
What time is it in
well.
China right now? What time?
It is a minute to 12 midnight.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Elizabeth, our love to you. We'll keep you lifted in our thoughts and in our prayers for a speedy and full recovery to good health.
Amen. Amen.
All right. Well, guys, I'm going to stop the recording now. All of that was being recorded. Dr. Charles, the recording is still going on. Do you want to say anything on the recording before I turn off the recording and I say goodbye to everybody or anything from you, Dr. Charles? We're going. You can say bye.
Bye. I'll see you on Monday.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you guys in class on Monday.
All right.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Josh, say bye. See, that's the next generation.